Good evening, y'all. This is Spencer Keck with the Hillbilly Think Tank. I am coming at you live from Tunnel Hills, Kentucky, and it is the 26th of February, 2026. Just got to ask y'all what you think about AI data centers. Now, here in the land of living free, I'm not sure that that's helping me live free. So again, I am running for magistrate, District 3 here in Hardin County. And as I look at what we have going down where Blue Oval SK used to be, where Ford was supposed to have an EV battery plant up and running, and it only ran for 3 months. And we lost 1,600 jobs and were promised another 1,000 on top of that, but never got it. What are they going to do with that center? They're saying it's going to be possibly AI energy storage. Does that sound like something we need? If you look at the expected grid usage in the next, from now all the way up to 2030, AI data centers are going to use half of the electricity made for the electrical grid. And who's paying for this? In almost every town that has a data center, folks that buy the electricity are regular consumers like you and me who are paying our electrical bills, who are also paying for AI data centers electricity. That doesn't seem fair to me. Not to this taxpayer. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments there if you would. I feel like we're getting fleeced by the big tech bros once again. One more time, one more way. Bohica, as we used to say in the military. But I don't think this was a good Bohica at all. Not that Bohicas ever are. So, yeah. If the Glendale mega data storage or data power storage center actually is what that becomes, saying, hey, we'll just have a bunch of batteries out there storing power for AI data centers. This doesn't at all seem like something that taxpayers of Hardin County should have to pay for. But again, let's see, are our politicians going to do anything to fight for us? To say, hey, we were promised one thing, and now you're going to try to give us another? Are we going to be the ones that are going to have to suffer because of this? We already know that our tax base for the county is not going to be what it would have been if we had had this Ford EV battery plant up and running for the next 50 years. But now how are we going to make up for that tax base? There's talks of taxing our homeowners insurance. That doesn't sound like a good thing to me. That doesn't sound like something that Hardin Countyans should have to pay for. Again, folks that have AI data centers, we know that the folks who pay their electrical bills in those towns where they have that. They have to pay extra fees just for those AI data centers that they didn't even ask to have built in their backyards. And those AI data centers are also poisoning the water in the backyards of these folks. So we've really got to look at what we have now in that behemoth that sits just off of Interstate 65 there in Glendale. Is that going to be a millstone around the neck of Hardin County? That's my biggest question. Well, y'all, hopefully that's not the case. But, wishing in one hand and doing something else in the other, as they say in the old days, yeah, you're more likely to get the other. So I want to know, what do you think? The price of beef is up 16% across America. Lettuce is up 11%. Eggs are still way up. Affordability is something that has got to be worked on. But is there anyone working on it seriously? Now, I know we're all still going to buy beef because, man, that's the American way. I love beef. But we are in a critical juncture in America. We have less cattle being produced than we've had since 1950. There's such a critical shortage since droughts have been affected cattlemen across the nation, especially out west. We've had the production of beef cattle has skyrocketed, and pushing all this Argentinian beef, as the president has, into our country, it hasn't done anything to help the rising costs of buying beef. It's hurt our American cattlemen, who are already hurting enough as it is, and the shortage at least is good for their bottom dollar right now, which that's a first in many, many, many years for cattlemen. But I was told just the other night that this is the golden age of America. Those rising costs sure don't feel like it to me. How about you? I think that's a bunch of hooey. Well, y'all, if we want freedom to come back this way, we've got to make it happen. They're not coming to rescue us. All right, who do we got on tonight? We got Joe Machismo, 6594. Did I just say Hardin County? Absolutely. I am here in Hardin County, Kentucky, Tunnel Hills, and talking about the state of affairs here in this county, in Kentucky, and across the nation. Good evening, but also, yep, good evening to you, sir. So, what do you think there, Joe Machismo? Are AI data centers the bane of our existence, or are they good for us? I don't think that they're good for me, because I'm seeing that my electric bill has gone up tremendously, just due to the rising cost of everything that's expenses. And I don't want to see a data center take over the Glendale facility and see my electrical costs go up even more. I got a $400 electrical bill this month. That's the highest I've ever had it. Can't believe it. I know it was a cold time, but still, that is high. Higher than the last year when we had the same cold temperatures, and I don't ever run my heater past 69 or 72. All right, Joe, hey, you said you're just down the road from me, halfway between E-Town and Boston, off 62. Let's see, are you in Colesburg? Who knows? Time W says I look lonely. Well, it is late at night. All right. I'm going to take a minute here, little break. Just past Colesburg. Yep. Know where that is. That's in my district. I'm running for magistrate in District 3. Colesburg's in my district. That area out there to that part of the county line towards, like you're talking about, towards Boston. Yeah. But of course, in Hardin County. All right, y'all. Let's take a little break here. See if anybody else has any comments about what they think about AI data centers, about the Glendale EV battery plant being turned into an AI battery power storage center. Don't think that's necessarily good for us. Let's find out. All right, quick break. Here we go. So, talking, Tom, about AI data centers and how I don't think that they're a good thing for us. I think they poison our water. We know they do. You can look up many studies been done. Folks talk about AI data centers coming in, and then their water's poisoned. AI data centers coming in, everybody's electrical bill goes up because we pay for the power to those data centers, even though we don't owe them. I don't own any stocks in a data center. And so if this Glendale facility where Ford Blue Oval SK was, if that becomes an AI data center or an AI power storage center, I don't want taxpayers to be footing the bill for that, or electric bill payers to be footing the bill for that. That's just an added tax on my electrical bill. So, all right. Joe says, personally, I don't want data centers anywhere in my state. I think they're a huge drain on resources. Exactly. They absolutely are. So like I was stating earlier, from now till 2030, data centers are going to take up half of the electricity out of the power grid. And that's something that we shouldn't tolerate. They should have to have their own little miniature power plants, whether it's a miniature atomic energy plant, their own solar plants. I mean, you can put solar panels all over that Glendale area. Let them make their own energy, but don't be charging me for it. That's for sure. All right. Tom says, and some of Muskrat centers are powered by turbines, which add noise pollution to the neighborhood. I haven't quite seen that. I've seen some turbines that didn't make any sound, actually, on some people that live, friends of mine that live off the grid. But of course, I wouldn't put Musk's turbos being that crappy beyond him. Yeah, nothing can come good of an AI center is right, Tom. Absolutely. So that's what I'm worried about here in Hardin County. And I want anybody who's a voter to know, if you'll vote for me for magistrate in District 3 here in Hardin County, I plan on this being one of my policies and my priorities. I don't want to see us now having to pay for that monstrosity, that behemoth just south of here. I feel so bad for the 1,600 people that were employed there. I planned on buying a Ford Lightning as soon as I pay off my current Chevrolet electric vehicle. I was planning on buying a Lightning, especially if like I said on this show, if I got elected a magistrate that first year of the election in order to support local business and local labor, I was going to buy a Ford Lightning. Now that's not going to happen. And that's a tragedy. Joe says, I think a question a lot of people don't think about is why there's such a need for data centers all of a sudden. What data are they collecting? Ah, dang, Joe, you nailed it. Yeah, we need to have a coffee and talk about that. So maybe we should definitely plan on that, Joe. You pick a date and a time, and we got some good coffee shops around here. I'd like to hear your thoughts, because that is something that's definitely concerning me. Yeah, exactly. What data are they collecting? So again, this comes back to, this is my Freedom from Fascism February. I am not buying anything from Amazon or Tim Cook, and it's all related to this. What are the tech bros doing with our data? I'm not using Amazon because Amazon is doing nothing but contributing to this government right now that cares nothing about our rights and is doing everything they can to surveil us and take more stuff away. So as long as Bezos is pushing for all the policies that are going on right now, he's not getting another one of my dollars this month, and maybe past this month. I haven't used Prime TV shows. I haven't bought anything on Amazon Prime, and I haven't used Alexa. Probably never going to use Alexa again. I might leave one in my kid's room because she uses her alarm and she can't remember to get up on time otherwise. But not sure about that even, because I don't want the data of our conversations in the house being shared, since we now know that Ring, Amazon's door camera, is being used and shared with flock cameras to invade our privacy and share our privacy with the government. So yeah, screw that. Tom, flock, invasive surveillance, or they call it safety, right? There you go. Is collecting a pattern of use the data on all of us. Exactly. Tom, appreciate that. I have never been comfortable with Amazon, so leaving aside is a pleasure. Well, I was far too comfortable with Amazon. Like I said, I was addicted to fascism. I was addicted to buying books, records, listening to all my music. If it wasn't a record or a CD that I bought or had, I listened to every single artist that I like through Amazon Music. Now, that was a tough one to give up because, man, I had so much stored and used on there. But I'm going to break myself up that habit. I already have broken myself of this habit for so far. We're now in 26 days of me being free of that addiction to fascism. So I'm now going to that great veteran-owned used LP store right there on the square, just off the square in Elizabethtown. Great spot. Used bookstore right there in the same room. They share a room in Old Elizabethtown. Man, two of my favorite things: books and records. One spot. Can't beat it. Buying local. It's what I'm doing. Went to get some Mi Jalisco tonight. I got my Jamaica right here. Left over from that. Can't say enough about those great folks at that restaurant, Mi Jalisco. It's authentic as you can get. Mexican food, really great service, always cheerful serving staff. Love the way they treat us folks here in Hardin County, or anybody that goes there and gets something to eat. They have great food, drinks, everything. Yeah. I am shopping local, buying local, and I'm happy to do it. Joe Machismo says, I like Amazon simply because I don't have to go to town to buy something. Bottom line, Doesn't matter where you buy it at, the same information is going to the same place. I can go to E-Town, Walmart, and buy something, same information going to the same place. Yep. But I hardly ever go to Walmart. There are too many local places that I like to go that aren't big, giant conglomerates. Right down there again on the square in Elizabethtown, you got Running Soles. I like to go buy my shoes there. Well, number one, that's one of the few places that has my size 15 shoes anyway. Too tall and my feet are too big for buying shoes at Walmart. Has been for years. I like, though, buying from Running Soles because, again, that's a veteran-owned business. Get a veteran's discount there, and I'm buying local, and they have a great running club, which I'm trying to get back into that shape. Got a great comic book store right down there in the square in Elizabethtown. Also give me a military discount. They also even help me buy some comics for the kids in my English class, and even help me find some in Spanish for my Spanish-speaking kids that I'm helping to learn English along with the rest of the English-speaking class. So, yeah, Elizabethtown, Hardin County, we got so much to offer, and I really miss the days of everything just being you could go downtown, shop, eat, find entertainment, and I think we're getting a resurgence of that. We're getting a lot of life back downtown in Elizabethtown, and I want to make sure that all these businesses keep on coming back to town. Let's get regular businesses. We just got to, get out and meet our neighbors. That's one of the biggest problems right now in America. We don't know our neighbors. And back to Walmart having all of our information, I'm trying to also remember to start buying stuff with cash. When I buy with cash, they're not getting my information. They don't know my algorithm of buying, whether I buy anywhere. If I'm buying with cash, they don't know it. Yes, Joe, I am a teacher too. Since I retired from the military back in 2014, I went to work for quite a few different places, but the longest stretch I had was working for the VA. Little stint with immigration, and then back to the VA. And then finally, I'm like, hey, I'm homesick. Came back to Kentucky, 2021, been teaching ever since. I have not had as much happiness and fulfillment in my life since I left the military as I have now as a teacher. It just really is good to me to be able to help kids that don't have all the opportunities in the world, but they have eager minds to learn. As someone who had some long periods of very unfortunate childhood here and there throughout my childhood, I really like making sure kids get what I didn't get. So education is my top priority, along with making sure that we're not fleeced by corporations that are in cahoots with our government. So, all right. Tom says he hadn't been inside a Walmart in about 15 years. Yeah, I step in there so infrequently. I'm almost where you are, but I'll go in there occasionally. So let's see. Joe, what you saying? We need to get together sometime. My stepmom was a teacher for the E-Town independent school system. That's cool. Yeah, I taught Hardin County schools for 2 years. Loved it. Then I moved on to a different district, making a little more money, give me a little more, money to buy the toys that I like. And also, I'm helping some very disadvantaged kids at the school I teach at now. And I'm really just loving it and can't say enough about it. We live in a great part of Kentucky. So, all right, y'all. So I also hopefully can get down. Well, I'm going to go to one of the fish fries tomorrow. This is my favorite time of year, finding places to go eat the fried fish on the Friday, find new people, have new conversations. So I'm going to try to make it tomorrow is my plan to go to St. James, get some fried fish, and probably do one at JR Neighbors another Friday. Been looking at that. JR Neighbors is one of my favorite restaurants downtown. Let's see what else. I saw that the Whistle Stop is also going to have a fish fry. That's a great place to eat. Yeah, just keep on hitting those up until the fish fry season is over. And I've heard, I believe that there's one of them that has even frog legs. That's another one of my favorites. Yeah, Joe, we do live in a great part of the state. So I know when my ancestors came through here in the late 1700s and early 1800s, and some of them settled down in here, some of my great-great-grandparents, they picked a great spot. Others of them, one of let's see, it was my fourth great-grandparents that came here during that period. My third great-grandma ended up marrying someone in Eastern Kentucky. And so had other part of my family tree over in the mountains, you know. So that's why I call myself a hillbilly. But when I was in college in Nashville, in Navy ROTC there, anytime I would drive home, I would say, man, Elizabethtown feels like Kentucky. When I hit about Horse Cave, Upton, and then come on up through here and head east to see the grandparents, I'm like, yeah, that's where I start feeling my Kentucky. So it's good to be here. Joe Machismo, I have several farm ponds I go frogging in. Oh man, it's always been a goal of mine. I'd love to do that. Didn't know anybody around here did that. Saw new folks when I was stationed down in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. That was pretty popular down there. There's even a restaurant you can go and watch the folks cleaning them for you before you ate them. Joe says, I grew up here, left several times, but always came back. Yeah. So I'm back for good now. Over 20 some years in the military and about 6 years in Montana after the military, working for the VA and for the federal government until I decided, hey, just can't do it anymore. I had to come back to where the roots are. It's so great to be back. All right, y'all. Don't have much to ramble on about now, but if y'all want to meet me out fish fry St. James tomorrow, that'd be really cool. Love to meet you. Love to talk to you. Again, Spencer Keck here, running for Hardin County Magistrate, District 3. And look, give me a consideration. Give me your vote. All right, y'all, here in Kentucky, we know that united we stand, divided we fall. And we know that if we love our neighbors as we love ourselves, we can't be divided, so we can't fall. That's why we recognize we are our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper. Just that simple. And that's what makes Hardin County great. That's what makes Kentucky great, is we all recognize that. Bless your corazon. Have a great night. Have a great Friday. See you soon.